Giving all praises to the Most High, through His Son Hamashiach. Peace and blessings to Israel. You know, there's an old saying, when the grass is cut, you can see the snakes. The snakes show their heads, and I'm telling you, the Most High is cutting the grass right now, because I just want to go a little bit into this video here, showing proofs, some quasi-proofs, some links to the Wuhan virus, to the COVID-19 being started by American scientists. Right now, they're going to go on to say that it's unfounded. It's not true, that, you know, the quote-unquote scientist was arrested for something else. But you know, when it comes to Esau, Edom, you know, there's always layers to their deception, right? I mean, this serpent is crafty as hell. Okay, so I mean, everything 5G, coronavirus, forced vaccination, etc. That's all a part of the craftiness of the serpent. But I'm gonna just go ahead and play the video and go from there.
And here's something else that's making news in the US: the arrest of a Harvard professor, one who headed the chemistry and chemical biology department in Harvard, who helped set up a lab in Wuhan, who was working with the Chinese, was being funded by the Chinese, while also getting money from the US Department of Defense. This is enough raw material for social media special agents to join the dots. Is this Harvard professor linked to the coronavirus outbreak? Our next report has the answer.
Separate cases highlighting the ongoing threat posed by Chinese economic espionage and research theft in the United States.
This video has gone viral.
Home of 60-year-old Dr. Charles Lieber today.
It claims that the United States has found the man who made and sold the deadly coronavirus to China.
University in Wuhan, and was.
You know, that's the problem, that the elites, that the Rothschilds, the Vanderbilts, the DuPonts, the so on and so forth, royal family, that upper echelon of Esau. That is the problem that they have with social media and independent news sources, is that, you know, they come out and they say, oh, it's unfounded, it's not accurate, you know. But the real issue is that people are digging, and that there's so many ways to find information these days. That's why, you know, it's the Most High who made the internet, who allowed the internet to be created. One, to get this truth out there, to wake up Jacob all across the world. That's first and foremost. And secondly, to put elements of truth, to let truth be dished out freely. Because that's what's happening. People are independent journalists, and they're digging, they're asking questions, they're connecting the dots, and they're presenting the information. And you're not just sitting back listening to 5 or 6 prominent news stations tell you whatever they're being told by their Zionist owners to tell the public. Okay, that's the issue that the elites have. Right. So it says here, USA just discovered the man who manufactured and sold coronavirus to China. You know, again, they're going to say, like, hey, that's not exactly what happened. But again, there's layers. So if it wasn't him, if it wasn't Charles Lieber, then it was somebody in that circle. Right. There's so many layers to this thing. I'm going to go ahead and let it play.
Paid up to $50,000 per month.
Dr. Charles Lieber, the Harvard professor who is now being called the coronavirus culprit. The viral video claims that Dr. Lieber was arrested on the 5th of April. But, like much else on social media, this is fake news. The video is old. The claims are wrong.
Relationship between the US and China.
Gravitas carried the original arrest report on the 29th of January.
The arrest of a Harvard professor and 2 Chinese researchers in the US comes at a critical time. Could this snowball into a bigger clash? Here's a Gravitas special report.
He's being called a Chinese spy. US prosecutors have arrested him on charges of economic espionage and research theft.
The arrest today of a Harvard.
So they're saying, hey, you know, And Gravitas, I found, is so far a pretty credible news source, and they come out with a lot of hard hitting truth, and they're pretty fast with the information and usually pretty accurate, right? So they're saying, hey, he did not get arrested for selling the coronavirus to China. He was arrested for espionage, and China is backing him economically, right? But you better believe that there's layers to this thing. Okay, there's layers to espionage, right? What's the homosexual newscaster, Anderson Cooper, right? Not only does this family go back to the Vanderbilts on his mother's side, right? So that's old money, old elitist money, right? But he has CIA ties, right, himself. You can look that up for yourself and do some research on that on yourself. A lot of these actors, entertainers, so on and so forth, have CIA government ties, right? And they're put in position not just to entertain. They get the benefits of the money of the entertainment industry, but they also have certain agendas that they push from their platforms. And so no different here. He may have been arrested for espionage, but he was sent over there to do something else that has something to do with this whole virus. I'm gonna let it play.
Harvard University professor for lying about his participation in a Chinese foreign recruitment program.
So who is Dr. Lieber and what is his story? Dr. Charles Lieber is a nanoscientist. He develops small materials on the nanometer scale, not viruses. He is the chair of Harvard University's Chemistry and Chemical Biology Department and has been affiliated with the university since 1991. So has Dr. Lieber been arrested? Yes, he was arrested in January this year. Again, not on the 5th of April. So why was the Harvard professor arrested? Well, he was being funded by the Chinese. He hid this fact while drawing funds from the US government. Dr. Lieber has been charged with aiding China. So does his arrest have anything to do with the corona?
So he could have been a U.S. government spy sent over there, and he just turned double agent, right, for financial gain. Okay? And that's why the U.S. came after him and had him arrested, right? He's supposed to be over there doing something exclusively for the U.S., but turned double agent, right? The Chinese may have caught wind of who he is and what he does and turned him, and said, hey, you're either going to take this money and work for us, or we're going to put a bullet in your head and dump you off in the field. You'll never be found again. Right? So the espionage game goes deep. The spy game goes deep. All these countries are spying on each other. They all got plants in different countries, U.S. namely, right? There's Russian spies over here living amongst normal U.S. citizens, right? And they're working for the Russian government. Henry Kissinger was said to have been a triple agent, right? So, you just can't trust Esau. I mean, he's rooted in deceit, shaped and formed in deceit. Okay, do I believe he has the scientist has a connection to COVID-19? It wouldn't surprise me if he did. Okay, this is definitely a man-made disease, that's for sure.
A virus. The answer is no. Dr. Charles Lieber's case is one of financial conflict of interest. What is the Thousands Talent Plans? At the center of it is China's Thousands Talent Plans. This program encourages foreign experts to bring their knowledge to China. It also rewards individuals for stealing proprietary information. Dr. Lieber was part of this program between 2012 and 2017. But Harvard did not know about this. China paid Lieber $50,000 per month for 3 years. He also received living expenses of $158,000. Dr. Lieber also worked with the Wuhan University of Technology. He was awarded $1.5 million for establishing a lab in Wuhan. The professor did not disclose any of this.
So $50,000 a month, and he was awarded $1.5 million for establishing a lab in Wuhan. All right. I mean, there can't be anything good coming out of that lab. Right.
To top this, Lieber continued receiving grants from the US Department of Defense. That's where the conflict comes in. Is there anything wrong with Lieber working with China? Technically, no. But he should have disclosed these affiliations to Harvard and US agencies. Instead, Lieber lied about them on 2 occasions in 2018 and 19. Hence, he was arrested. Nothing to do with creating or selling the coronavirus.
On paper, nothing to do with creating or selling the coronavirus. On paper, right? Genesis chapter 3, verse 14. And the Most High Power said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Right? So the serpent always appears lowly and meek. Right? That's how he's made now. That's how he's created now. Right? He's cursed to be lowly and meek, to scout around the earth on his belly. Right? Yet he's capable of causing great damage to the unsuspecting. So if you see a serpent, you don't see a serpent. That's what they say. You cut the grass to see the snakes. You don't see a serpent in weight. That serpent can strike your ankles. It can snip at the ankles of your horse, knock you off your horse, right, and cause a lot of damage, even death to you, depending on that venom, right? But appears lowly and meek, right? And that's what's happening right now with Esau. Appears lowly and meek, right? But has the power and the strength of a serpent. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, 19, and I'll start at verse 26. Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, 19, 26 through 28. There is a wicked man that hangeth down his head sadly, but inwardly he is full of deceit, casting down his countenance, and making as if he heard not. Where he is not known, he will do thee a mischief before thou be aware. Okay? And if for want of power he be hindered from sinning, yet when he findeth opportunity, he will do evil. So the spiritual children of the serpent are capable of the same lowly appearance, right? Just like their father, right? Their hearts are constantly on death, constantly on destruction, and constantly on wickedness. All right. The scriptures is breaking down exactly who we're talking about, especially in these last days. It's no secret anymore. Right. This devil has to be called out, has to be put to the forefront. And you Israelites, have to be warned about our enemy and who we're dealing with. Very, very crafty. Very, very crafty. Okay. The same craftiness of the serpent. Right. Let's go to Job. Let's go to the book of Job. Let's go to chapter 5. And we'll do verses 12 through 14. Job 5, 12 through 14. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. They meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as in the night. Okay, so Esau has demon-inspired plans for the earth, but the Most High is not going to allow those plans to come forth. He's going to thwart those plans, right? Those plans are dark, but guess what? We're the children of the light, all right? The sons of Jacob. So everything he's putting together is not going to work on us, okay? Ultimately, Yahshua all shall be saved, okay? Let's go to Oli Bagudi. Let's go to Psalms. Psalms 83, 1 through 4. Keep not thy silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Right? They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. A lot of us came to the truth and remember this scripture here as being how our enemies have hidden our identity, but it goes even deeper than that. Right? The coronavirus started out as a whites only disease. Right? It started off with the Chinese, and then it started off as a whites only disease when it started making its way westward. So how is it now predominantly our people, right, getting the disease? How? They took that disease back to the lab, tweaked it, twerked, and turned it up a little bit, and did whatever they needed to do with that formula so that it could affect our DNA, right? They already know that we're suffering. The elite already know that we're who we are, right? They know these scriptures better than a lot of your pastors do, okay? And they know that the sons of Jacob are stricken with diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. You know, name 15 diseases we get at the most because of the curses of Deuteronomy 28. So they create a disease that affects you if you already have underlying conditions. It kills you if you already have underlying conditions. That's by design. That's crafty counsel. Okay? Let's go to Psalms. We're going to stay in Psalms and go to chapter 36. Psalm 36, and I'm going to read 1 through 4 as well. The transgression of the wicked saith within my heart, that there is no fear of God before his eyes. For he flattereth himself in his own eyes until his iniquity be found to be hateful. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise and to do good. He deviseth mischief upon his bed. He setteth himself in a way that is not good. He abhorreth not evil. So day and night, the wicked think of nothing more than evil, right? And how to apply that evil to the world. The evil is namely conjured up for Israel. This disease was made up for Israel. Ebola made up for Israel. H1N1 for Israel. Okay. Chemtrails being sprayed all over the city skies. Who lives within the cities, the inner cities? Jake, Israel. Right? So they lay on their bed and they just think of ways. They abhor not evil. They embrace evil because they are the wicked. Right? They are the children of the serpent. Okay? And like that serpent, they're crafty as hell. Let's go to Micah. The book of Micah, chapter 2, verse 1 through 2. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. They go to that bed again. I mean, they literally sit back, have dreams, and think of ways, plot in their bed while you thinking of, wait, man, how I'm going to get my tax return. I'm going to flip that tax return and make some money off of it. Right? You're thinking of ways in your bed of how you're going to come up. Right? Or things you got to do the next day or the following week, business you got to take care of, whatever the case may be. The wicked, right? The wicked, Esau, they're sitting back thinking of ways to do evil. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it. because it is in the power of their hand, and they covet fields and take them by violence. By violence. Right? Don't they go everywhere and take it by violence? The opium fields that they're watching over right now in Afghanistan were taken by violence. Okay? The oil fields in Libya, in Iraq, and Kuwait, violence. They try and take care of Syria now. They take everything by violence. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. Okay? They're going to be looking to do that here in Babylon pretty soon. Forced vaccinations. They're going to snatch your family members out of their houses and try to force vaccinate them or take them off to a FEMA camp if they're not willing to do so. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Right? Oppress a man, his house, a man and his heritage. Okay? So the serpent is constantly plotting, waiting to strike. All right? He's speaking with a forked tongue. Okay? The physical serpent in nature is all muscle, right? Their bodies are all muscle, and they're very strong. They can wrap around you and choke you to death, right? Some of those boa constrictors, right? Crush you. Very powerful, right? They got the strength to do what they want to do. Esau is the serpent. Esau has the power to execute his crafty plot. He doesn't just think of a crafty plot, but he has the military backing, the police backing, the sword, the guns, the weapons, the tanks, the bombs, all that stuff to execute that crafty plot. We're dealing with the damn devil. The physical incarnation of the devil, right? Esau, Edom. That's what we're dealing with. And for those of you who don't believe that, you're going to see pretty soon. But those horns is already showing right now. Let's go to Isaiah 30:1-3. The book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 1-3. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Most High, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Right? Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Right? So the mark of the beast is on the horizon, and we cannot trust in this spiritual Egypt, the spiritual Egypt. Okay? We cannot align ourselves with the seed of the serpent. Okay? Many people are going to be taking those vaccinations willingly. They're going to be asking for it. Right? And there's a lot of brothers that believe that vaccination is going to have the RFID chip in it. It just may. Okay? We cannot take that chip. That is aligning ourselves with Egypt, the spiritual Egypt that we're in right now. Trusting in Pharaoh, trusting in the strength of Egypt. The Most High is going to be against you. Right? Pharaoh, be your shame. The strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. Okay? We got to have faith and hope. We got to have faith and hope. Right? Let's go to Psalms. Psalms 37, 12-17. The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The Most High shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow, to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Okay? Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. A little that is a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. So don't you take that chip. just so you can get plenty of food and all the other stuff and go to the shopping centers and the grocery stores like normal. Okay? It's better to have a little as a righteous man than plenty from the wicked. Verse 17, for the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Most High upholdeth the righteous. Hallelujah. So every evil that is plotted against Israel is coming back on the enemies of Israel. Every evil that's plotted on Israel is coming back on the enemies of Israel. Selah, think on that. Think on that and have faith and hope, right? In your power, your deliverer, right? Let's go to Job. Let's go to Job chapter 5, 19 through 27. Job 5, 19 through 27. He shall deliver 3 in 6 troubles. He shall deliver 3 in 6 troubles. Yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. In famine he shall redeem thee from death. Right? We're about to face famine right now. They got meat packing centers closing down, slaughterhouses closing down, vegetable crops sitting out in fields rotting because there's no one to pick the crops and process them. So food shortages are coming. But this is what the Most High says. He says, in famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue. Right? Neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. Destruction is coming. We don't have to be afraid. These scriptures are our faith and our hope, right? Building us up, making us stronger for the hour of temptation. At destruction and famine, thou shalt laugh. At destruction and famine, thou shalt laugh. Why are we going to laugh? Because the Most High is going to be feeding his people and taking care of his people, his elect, right? Neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth, right? The beasts of the earth. These other nations, namely Esau. No, we don't have to be afraid of them. For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field. Okay? Thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field. So when Joshua crossed over, he gave our people deliverance and salvation and brought us across the Jordan. He put up 2 stones, right, in the land. One for the blessing, one for the curse, and he wrote the commandments on them. Okay? So we're going to be in league with those commandments, right? And the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. They're going to have to be at peace with us because the Most High is going to make them, right? And they're going to be in absolute peace with us when we're ruling over them. And thou shalt know that thy tabernacle shall be in peace, and thou shalt visit thy habitation and shalt not sin. Thou shalt know also that thy seed shall be great, and thy offspring as the grass of the earth. Thou shalt come to thy grave in full age, the age that the Most High wants you up out of here, like as a shock of corn cometh in his season. Lo, this, we have searched it, so it is. Hear it, and know thou it for thy good. Right? So our house is going to be in peace during the time of destruction. Right? Yeah, there's going to be some of us that have a lot to be martyrs. Okay? There's going to be some of us that have lots to be martyrs. There's going to be some of us that's going to die for this truth, be beheaded for this truth. Right? Someone's thrown in prison houses. Okay? When I say peace, I'm not saying that everything's going to be hunky-dory, it's going to be cool. What I'm saying is that the Most High is going to empower you through Hamashiach, and you're going to have peace in your heart about your lot. Whatever your lot is. Okay? The Most High is going to strengthen you to take that lot and to gain everlasting life in the kingdom. Right? Or to deliver you, whatever your lot's going to be. Psalm 21, last scripture. Psalm 21. And we'll do 11. Psalm 21, 11 and 12. For they intended evil against thee. They imagined a mischievous device, which they are not able to perform. Therefore shalt thou make them turn their back, when thou shalt make ready thine arrows upon thy strings against the face of them. What arrows we talking about? Those missiles that's going to come over here. Those nuclear bombs that's going to come over here and level Babylon to the point where it's never going to be inhabitable again. The Most High himself is going to intervene on our behalf and thwart the plan of the serpent and bring salvation to Israel. Peace and blessings, Israel. Be strong and be courageous. Shalom.